Hi, welcome to the Average Tabletop Gamers. This is our end of year special. Hi, welcome to the Average Tabletop Gamers. I'm Ben.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Sven.
And this, for us, is a bit of a milestone actually. We've been going for 2 years.
Woo!
No one ever said that we'd get this far. No one ever said...
Anyone who's been watching is probably amazed to see us get this far.
Yeah, absolutely. So we thought we'd take this opportunity to kind of give you a bit of a... like what's happened over the last 2 years to us in terms of gaming. And kind of, you know, give you some of our highlights, favourite bits and bobs, things like that. And you know, just see what happens.
And we'd hoped to have been joined by the full group, but due to unavoidable circumstances, Gary and Lee can't be with us tonight, so we'll maybe touch in on a few of the things that they've given us in their list as well.
They're corporate welches that they are.
Yeah, so unfortunately they're not here, but we are. So,
We are, and we're the talent, so...
and so you're stuck with us. So we've got a couple of topics that we've pre-prepared, just that we're going to use to kind of guide us through this ramble.
Absolutely.
And I will be invigilating the discussion, just as... If you've seen any of our videos, you'll know how much of a ramble we can all go off on.
I can't believe we didn't get you a chess clock for this.
Chess clock only really applies to me. So the topics we've kind of narrowed it down to 5, so I think we're going to have a chat about the gaming highlights of the year. So good, bad, memorable, whatever you want to go through.
Yep.
Favourite thing, let's say. So it'll be favourite mini, favourite tool, favourite paint, favourite new technique for the two of you who do the more artisty side, the hard work, yeah. The best game or product that we've seen. We've looked at a lot of great scenery on the channel. We've looked at a lot of new games coming out this year. There's been loads of great stuff coming out.
We've even been to a couple of decent shows.
We have.
We've seen some really nice things there. So, you know, it could be anything out of there.
Your favourite company of the year?
Oh, this is it. I think there's going to be some division there.
So I've got a bit of a controversial one. I've got very corporate in mind, but we'll get to that. And what you're looking forward to, or what your plans are for 2020.
I mean, obviously, best laid plans. So now in December 2019, what we are going to have abandoned by January 2020.
Yeah. And that might just become a percent. I would like my painting table to be this percent further through.
Never going to happen.
No. I have no painting table, so this isn't one I'd be worried about. So right, kicking us off, gaming highlights. Who wants to start?
Okay, and so basically the thing that started this channel was me buying Pegasus Bridge
It was, wasn't it?
in December 2017.
Which Pegasus Bridge?
The Warlord Pegasus Bridge, the full ham and jam collector's set. Go back, check out the initial fumbling through and unboxing with bad light, terrible close-ups, and you can see how far we've progressed.
Talent was still there though.
Talent's still there. And it took me a year to even get around to starting to build Pegasus Bridge. So I've been building some of the bits from it. So you'd seen on the channel, myself and Lee had built the Horsa glider, and I think I'd built and showed off some of the other bits from like the ruins and things like that through the social media channels. So, but I think it was probably last December-ish. There was a big.
It was. We did. Yeah, it was about this time last year, wasn't it?
There was a big push in one of the Facebook groups that we're in, 2D20 Gamers, to paint or build a big thing, a big project, and I decided this was my opportunity to do Pegasus Bridge. So I set it with a good intention of doing that, and then some 100 hours later or something, I had got the full Pegasus Bridge built.
Did you not have some incident? Because it might have been a different build. I do apologise if I get this wrong. Was there not I've built a hut and one of the walls is on the wrong way round and now the roof doesn't go on? Or
No, this...
That was me.
Really?
Yeah, that was me on most things. In fact, that was Gary on most of my things.
Or when I glued the lid, I glued the roof onto one of his buildings. But that wasn't a highlight. That was the thing that was supposed to be forgotten about. But the highlight wasn't just building Pegasus Bridge, it was the fact that we actually got together at Ben's.
Put it in a game.
We set up a 6x4 table and we played Unicorn Bridge, wasn't it?
Unicorn Bridge.
So
3,000 points aside.
If you troll back through our Facebook feed, somewhere probably January, February this year, and I'll put some pictures up right now as we're talking here.
I'm sure it was earlier than that.
I think it was January, February-ish, I'm sure. But it was around about the start of the year.
And my highly mobile German force, having to act in a defensive manner, got absolutely crushed.
Yeah, so I think it was myself
One
and
and only
Ian.
time I've used my Americans.
It was myself and Ian, we were the Germans. I had my Fallschirmjäger, you had your Winter Grenadiers. And it was Gary with his British commandos.
Paras. And me with my US infantry.
You were US infantry. And we basically had just had a big smash up, really.
It was beautiful. It was such a good game.
And this isn't a lead into my highlight at all, but I remember one of the highlights of that game for me was we'd found some rules, if you remember, to actually have paras parachuting onto the board.
Yeah, it was from the wall.
And it was literally holding a dice, it was a scatter dice above the board, dropping it, seeing which way it pointed,
and then dropping the stick,
and then just having your paras die on buildings. It was a really nice little rule.
It was a final game. I think we played 2, maybe 3 turns of it because it was that big and.
Crackers.
But we got enough. No, we played more than 3 turns.
Yeah, we probably did actually because
it was at least 5 or 6 turns
because you got across the bridge and started.
I got my troopers across the bridge and basically.
It was about 12 hours of gaming. It was a silly long game. Yeah.
We realised how
we should do that again.
How good jeeps are when they're full of.
Full of US troops.
Or full of paras.
M3 Scout car.
But I think man of the match.
Beast.
Man of the match was still Heinz with his Panzer Shrek. Still Heinz with his Panzer Shrek, man of the match for me. But yeah, so that was one of my highlights, was the fact that something that, the thing that says started all of this, me going, I'm buying this great big set, we should unbox it.
I've got a camera,
let's unbox it.
How difficult can this be?
And then a year later we got it built, and now a year on, it's sitting on a shelf.
It's sitting on a shelf, will never be touched again.
And it was, I don't do the social media, so you'll have to tell me the pictures we took of that board. It was a stunning board. It's one of the best boards I've played on.
And everything was painted. That was one of my personal favourite bits. Was at the highlights of that game was that there wasn't a single thing on there that wasn't painted and based.
Yeah.
Everything looked brilliant. It was a great looking game.
And as much as I enjoyed it, it was brilliant. Everything positive we said there, we got so many rules wrong, but they'll be corrected the next time we do a big game.
We got them wrong in a fair manner.
We absolutely did.
Everything we got one way, we got one
they were wrong for everybody. But yeah, that was definitely my highlight, was getting that set up and actually used, and just seeing that on a table, given how big a piece that is and how much it dominated the board.
And the kind of how we had to set the table up with, because I've got a table, a tile table.
Yeah. And
we decided like we're going to not have some tiles in the place to represent the canal, and then working out how big a space it needed
and then
to actually work.
And then realising that because of the rules,
nothing else could go across.
Because of the rules we'd made for the canal, nothing else on the board could pass over the canal. So that bridge was the only passing point.
Yeah.
Much as I guess it would have been in the wars and stuff, but it was a great game.
Could have bought a thingy.
Moving on then.
Yes.
A good start. Ben.
Oh,
Ben,
me. Okay.
Yeah, let's go to Ben.
So, this is kind of a real heartfelt thing for me. So, I was 10 when I first started doing tabletop roleplay, which is several centuries ago now, in terms of things. And it was through school, and I played D&D, I think it was 1st or 2nd edition, at the school war game and roleplay club, which was really progressive for the 80s.
Yeah.
To have that kind of thing. But then I went to a very posh school. You wouldn't know it. And for the last few years, I haven't touched any tabletop role playing, and it's kind of where my heart is in gaming.
Yeah.
I love wargaming, I love board gaming, etc., etc. But for me, it's all about tabletop role playing. And this year, I finally got some dice out again. I finally got hold of some books, and I was able to not only run a couple of games. I'm running a really great game at the moment for some other friends of mine. I do have other friends. So it was a great game, and I ran a game for you guys. But on top of that, I've also managed to actually play, which for somebody who's like the perennial GM or DM is something that doesn't happen. I can't remember the last game I actually played, and to get back into tabletop role playing this year has been such a joy. I'm actually getting a bit emotional about it.
Is that the play? Is the D&D?
So D&D Adventures League is one that I'm playing. I'm played in a Star Trek game, Star Trek Adventures, the new one. I played in that as well.
That's the one you ran for us.
That's what I ran for you guys. So character backstory. I'm playing a Vulcan medical officer in that.
Nice.
Which is quite cool. D&D Adventures League, which is a really interesting concept of kind of organised role play. Organising your fun.
So I was actually looking at that after you talked, because I've got some crack on it. I really fancy getting back into it myself. So I did have a look at, or getting into that D&D and just trying to get So I did have a look at Adventures League last night, just seeing what it is, and
it's great. You know, it's one of these. So it started out, I think it was Pathfinder did it first, but then D&D have done it now, where the game's tiered. And you play by tier, and you can take your character because they're registered on a central. I think they're registered on a central database or something like that. And you can take your tier and play in any game in the world, anywhere, as long as it's in your tier.
Yeah.
Character generation is really simple. The adventures, we're playing for a pre-written adventure that's being run by my mate Will. Props. And it's really nice. It's really good fun. And it's really simple, and like I say, you can dip in and out of it because as long as you stick within the tier bands, you can play. It's a really nice idea. So my highlight of the year has been getting back into tabletop role playing, and I've got games. I've got people requesting games. I'm going away for a weekend soon. I've had requests to run games at that, etc. etc. So it's the perennial GM. But I don't mind because I know my job, I know my role.
So I'm
just going to slap you.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I don't want to just pick one. So my highlight is exciting endings to games. So I've got two, and the specific reason I've got two. So it's something I'll feature on later on as well. One of the games we featured on the show, we discussed quite a bit, has been Gotham City Chronicles.
Yeah.
This year, game that you got. Was it Kickstarter you got it through?
Kickstarted, as a birthday present.
And
Kickstarter.
That was. I thought. Oh, okay. So that
came through earlier this year.
Oh, right. Okay. So we've played a load of that. Season 1. But one of the things I have loved about it, and besides the rules, which I hammered on about how good they are, I've seen a lot of people who've said they're terrible and they're really difficult. They're just not. It's a really, really well written rulebook. Sorry, that got a little bit preachy. But we've played a few games of that, and what I have loved is that 2 or 3 of them, where I've been the baddies and when I've played as the heroes, they've been last turn victories or last turn defeats snatched from victory.
Sometimes that's dice.
Yeah, and it's been really atmospheric. It's been
even the game we played and filmed for the channel.
Of course,
came down to that.
Came down to last dice roll.
Last dice roll.
Oh, was that the game that it was decisions I'd made earlier had really it was the Court of Owls.
Yeah.
It was the Talon. I can't believe I still remember this. It was the reviving the Talon when I should have revived some just normal soldiers. But
it still came down to Nightwing or Batman. It was Batman. It was Batman making the last roll, wasn't it?
Clearing a room of one more person so that Batman didn't have the negative in order to. It was.
Yeah.
Well, you can go and watch that game. So we'll stick a thing up there or down there where you can go and watch that game if you want to and see that final turn.
The other one, another one we filmed was our Blood Bowl game that we filmed.
Yeah.
I think Orcs versus yours.
It was Orcs versus Human because it was we used the
basic box, wasn't it? Yeah.
And it was another one of those real nerd games, and I won't have because you've all played Blood Bowl, you all know how it works. Last 2 turns, I think I I think I was 2-0 up, if I remember. I was pushing for another one. I'd played really negatively. I was in this tiny little pocket in the bottom corner. And over 2 turns, you just strung this spectacular play together.
It's because we'd forgotten about this blocker that I just left lying.
I had my entire team in your bottom corner.
And there was one guy who was in range of a long bomb and could make it to the touchdown, the end zone, unopposed. So
over the 2 turns, he got the ball. He made the pass. I realised I couldn't get to the guy. Reacted really badly and fouled him. So fouled someone further down the pitch because I couldn't do anything else and I had a bit of a huff. That was a cracking game.
But then kind of, I'd say pretty much every Blood Bowl game that we've played has come down to a final decisive moment this year.
Yeah.
You know.
And I discovered just how broken the Wood Elves are playing you. Not that I'm bitter. Anyway, moving quickly on. So
what did Gary have down? That was an interesting.
Gary's highlight, and I'm sure we'll get Gary. We're going to feature this game a bit more, I think, on the channel at some point in the new year. Anyway, so Gary, one of his biggest highlights was basically completed with his other. Well, actually, it was a mix between the 2 groups, really, but he crossed the streams between his friends with Blackstone Fortress. And I think he completed a full run all the way through. And
with his imaginary friends?
With his imaginary friends.
Yeah.
And
so it didn't really happen then?
Yeah, shout out to Huss and Alex, his imaginary friends.
But keep watching the channel.
But yeah, so he completed the full run through Blackstone Fortress and really explored the campaign aspect of that, which is one of his highlights. And I say we'll get Gary on with Blackstone Fortress at some point and we'll play through a few scenarios because it was a great game.
It was, the couple of times
the campaign system, the way it strings together, and it's something that we'll definitely try and feature. It's one of the ones we wanted to feature more on the channel this year, but unfortunately with timings and things, we've not had a chance to do that.
And Gary being a corporate shill.
Especially with Gary, he's got all of his stuff painted up beautifully for Blackstone Fortress, so we'll get that featured. So that was Gary. So we're not going to dwell too much.
We can. I mean, it just kind of just to ramble slightly about it. Bloody good game.
Yeah,
that's a great game. Really good fun.
And also, if someone says to you, if anything but rolling a 20 and you're fine, don't roll. Don't anything but a 20.
Actually, another highlight of mine is watching you actually make some dice rolls.
Yeah.
That worked.
It was the fact the whole game, I mean, this is not a karma moment, the entire game, you'd just been, oh, look, everything I'm touching's turning to gold. It's all just going perfectly, and this has happened, and this has happened, and this. I might as well have a go at this. Dead.
Yep.
So moving on. So I don't think we didn't get these lists, do we?
No, we haven't got these lists, but we might publish these onto the Facebook page so you can weigh in and say what your highlights and things have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to hear from you guys. You know, at the end of the day, you're the guys that we wanted to. I'd say you're the guys we wanted to do this for. But
we just wanted to chat in front of the computer.
It was mainly minus Sven's ego to start with.
And I didn't want to get involved.
But now we've actually got a community, and it's really heartwarming. So I think, but actually, to be honest, I'm going to change my highlight. The fact that we've got 300 subscribers, plus over 300 subscribers, over 300 on our Facebook page, over 300 on Instagram, over 300 on Twitter. You know, their numbers when we first started, we had...
That's validation right there.
Yeah, you know, it was like, cool, look at that, we've got 5. And that's us 5.
And only 299 of those are accounted afterwards.
And after all that, our greatest video of the year was you wearing a red marigold claw.
You've got crabs.
Still our most watched video. If you haven't seen it already, we'll pop a link to it here, somewhere around here.
Right.
Go and watch it because it is funny.
Right, enough plugging, invigilating, back on. Right, so I'm going to take the first one.
What about me?
I'm going to take first go on our favourite... You going to say something?
No, I was going to...
Favourite mini model or
thing.
I really, really struggled with this one because I think the year for gaming and some of the product it's been incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I know I won't steal your thunder, but I know one of the ones you pick, or what you've picked, was right up there for mine as well as a cracking model. We touched on Blackstone Fortress. I think that is a game where every single miniature in there is a character model quality.
Yeah.
It's just even like things like, oh, here's a beastman, here's another beastman. They're just
Same
great.
with Kill Team. Everything in Kill Team's really pretty.
Yeah. A game we've not really touched on, but it's the models that want me to draw me into it. Necromunda. I think the gangs for Necromunda has been incredible.
The new Blood Bowl teams.
Oh, Blood Bowl. Oh, your Halfling team.
Yeah, the
Gorgeous.
Halfling team was really nice. The Halfling team were in my short
games
list
as well that aren't Games Workshop
yeah,
stuff.
But I mean, there's been.
But they're always the standard, aren't they?
Yeah, there's been so many like nice models and nice things coming. Some of the stuff that Rubicon have been doing in the 28mm World War II space. Yeah. Some of the kits and the options they've been bringing out have been
the new Dread figures that we looked at in our last films. Again, so pretty. Who else has been doing really nice stuff?
Well, Warlord have had it nailed on with some of the cast they've been doing, some of the licensing they've been doing. So
that's a really nice lead in there, Stephen.
Oh!
So
look at that professionalism.
I'll take off that. And so my favourite miniature, as much as a game we played once, we've talked about how it didn't really work for us. My favourite miniature comes from that game, and it's the Gronk.
Yeah.
It is. Now the thing is, I think this might be swaying it. I have only ever seen it painted spectacularly. So there's obviously the paint jobs you see on the actual website, and there's the paint job you did for me, and it is a stunning little miniature. It might be worth it. We get a photo. We can maybe put it on.
I think I actually took some good photos of that as well.
It's got so much. You look at it. It's got so much character. It is one of the best miniatures. Just looking at it, going that's from the comic. That is me holding something from the comics right there.
Genuinely, and you know, I've done a lot of painting this last year, and
most of it his.
To be honest, more than half of it his. In fact, all of it his. No, it's a lie. I did one thing for myself.
And in return, I have taught you rules.
That's true. Thank you for the rules. The Gronk is probably one of the funnest miniatures I've had to paint this year.
Yeah.
Just the I was really lucky that that I managed to get hold of a really nice set of pink paints called Nipple Pink. They're really interesting, but 4 of them in an upgrading to highlights
to do all the nipple tones.
And to do all the nipple tones. It was 3 or 4. And it worked so beautifully on the Gronk to get those really vibrant pinks of the flesh on there. It was almost fate that put those paints in my hand at the time, and then you put the Gronk in my hand. That sounded a lot worse than it was intended to.
We might need to cut that.
No, sorry, here's what he calls it. And then painting it and it looking so spectacular.
Yeah.
Just it was so good.
And as I say, it just, when I was trying to consider it, there was so many candidates, and it just, every time I thought about it, it was just that's it. That's the one for me. So should we come back to, because I've already said that I was going to steal one of yours. So do you want to...
So for me, it was the Warhound Titan from Adeptus Titanicus.
Oh.
So obviously Titanicus, they kind of released it last year.
I had loads of them as well for him.
They kind of released that last year, and it was one of those limited burst releases, and then they re-released it this year.
It was also a game we were going to have nothing to do with.
I was going to have nothing to do with it whatsoever, and
most of the games we played.
And then Gary bought it, and I had a look at it at Gary's house, and
he bought it to play with his imaginary friends, didn't he?
And then I bought it, but it was pretty much of the strength. It was a toss-up between the Warlord Titan and the Warhound Titan in terms of which one I liked the most. But actually, the Warhound Titan looks the most like the Warhound Titans of old, just scaled up to what they should be like. And it was that, because Adeptus Titanicus and Epic and Space Marine and all of whatever it was called back in the day, that was one of the first games that I really sunk my teeth into, and I had legions of Titans, and I had the white metal Warhounds, all the different configs you could have, which was obviously harder to do back then. Nobody magnetised things.
Yeah.
And getting those models with so much variance in the carapaces, the armour choices. You know, in every box you had the choice to do loyalists or traitors.
Yeah.
Just in the carapace, and you could switch the weapons around, so we magnetised our weapons to give ourselves a choice.
Magnetised as well, you know, they were
really well put together kits,
beautiful,
aren't they?
such beautiful design work on them. to get them to actually work the way that we as gamers would use them.
Yeah.
And it was a real kind of sidestep to the standard Games Workshop model, to actually make something, design something with the gamer in mind as opposed to the aesthetic in mind.
But it was also one that was such a throwback to how it was, when I was like 12, 13 playing this game.
The same game scaled up, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it's scaled the same as I have.
Yeah.
That's the way it seems to be.
So, I'm going to need a moment.
It hasn't with me, because I was this tall then.
Yeah.
So, it's just picking up on I was going to pick the Warhound, because as we said, we weren't going to get into ad tech.
Yeah.
And then we looked at, you saw Gary's miniatures, we started talking about it a bit more. I looked at the Warhounds on, I looked at all the miniatures, but particularly the Warhounds on the web, and it was like, those are great. I'll get a really small couple of Warhounds, maybe a mobile force, maybe 2 Warhounds, a Reaver. I don't really like the Warlord Titans, they're a bit big, they're not really my thing, which is now I have 2.
Yeah, well,
that
was also the first, one of the first or second games we played of it. We were sitting here playing, and by turn 2, you had your phone out and were ordering Titans.
Oh god, yeah!
In the middle
of the game,
and you were shouting at Ben, who was flicking through the books, and Ben was shouting back which colour schemes you could do. That
you're looking at weapon configs
I may have an impulse problem.
You're looking at weapon configs as well, going, what do I get with this weapon config?
Oh, that's right.
It was this, and this.
That's what I justified to myself when I was looking at, I just want a Reaver and a couple of Warhounds.
Yeah.
But if I get the big box, I basically get the Warlord for free.
There's justification there.
Oh, God. So why have it 2? Who knows?
So, Ben, your favourite pick.
Throw Gary's in.
Okay,
throw Gary's in. We can get that one over and done with quickly.
Gary's was the Star Wars Legion speeder bikes, which are models I think he enjoyed building and painting, and again we'll get some nice photographs and we'll spin them up on the screen, or we'll put them on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter.
They're beautiful, and this kind of leads slightly into mine. So for me, this has probably been the most difficult of all the categories to work on, because I collect and I play Legion, and everything that they've done for Legion is wonderful. You look at those models and you go, right, I'm recreating a Star Wars film here. It's so good, and the quality of those products have only improved since they came out. When they first came out, they were the slightly wobbly plastic, and now they were multi-part, multi-pose, on sprues, very Games Workshop style. The plastics have developed, their casting techniques have developed. I think they've done such a good job. But then you look at some of the other games that we've had through, Mutant Chronicles, the Mutant Chronicles game, Siege of the Citadel.
Oh.
Some of the miniatures in there are just the Izagul is just an amazing piece of kit. And then you look at Gotham and the Nightwing model.
Oh.
The Nightwing and the Batman models
and Batcow,
but the Frank Miller Batman,
some of the
Frank Miller Joker,
some of the stuff we've not looked at, the Marvel game Crisis Protocol.
Crisis Protocol.
Crisis Protocol. The miniatures in that.
I haven't got my hands on them. The new Night models, completely massively overly expensive, priced themselves out of the market horrifically. But that Batman that they've just released, the 3rd edition, is beautiful. But my pick of the year is starter boxes for role-playing games.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've not seen them yet, you can get them from. We looked at the D&D one, and we've looked at the Star Trek one. There's one for Warhammer Fantasy. There's a Shadowrun one out now.
Yeah.
SLA Industries have done one. There's a new Cyberpunk 2077 one coming out, or it's just come out. I think there's one for Paranoia, and they're £20, and here's 20. You spend £20 and you get everything to start role playing a game.
Yeah.
To start your journey into role play, and they are, back when I started. So the first thing I bought was I bought the D&D Red box, and I bought the Traveller box.
Yeah.
The light blue Traveller box, and I can't remember how much they were. Going back many years. And again, everything was in there, but they were complete games. But you didn't get anything like maps. You didn't get adventures. You didn't get The D&D one had those really weird blue dice with you had to wax crayon the numbers and things like this. And to see how far the hobby has really progressed, and to see these intro level games out there, again, we'll pop videos of the ones we've looked at, and I'm probably going to collect them all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's even stuff like those boxes this here are great for getting into role play, and since there's been a bit of a resurgence in role play,
massively so.
And there's even stuff like, I was in a random shop recently. It was one of the high street bookshops that sells games, and they had the Stranger Things D&D edition.
Yeah.
So it was the D&D starter box, but it had the the adventure that the kids are playing in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So you can play their adventure, and you even get an exclusive Demogorgon miniature in the box, and so
it's tie-ins
for that kind of someone who's never tried roleplay before, but seen Stranger Things
has gone a bit of an 80s kick.
What's D&D about? Goes into a shop, sees the Stranger Things edition.
We're not under rules. We can say.
Okay, it was Waterstones. Okay, Waterstones. If Waterstones want to give me free books.
Yeah.
There are other high street bookshops.
But but you can wander into somewhere like that, and there's. I mean, even just talk about Waterstones there. That they had all the 5th edition D&D stuff, so it's becoming so mainstream now. It's those boxes you see are a great starter.
Absolutely.
But the one, because we did an episode on the D&D and the Star Trek one.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I guess you'll put the links wherever it is you put the links.
All these places.
You can see how technical and involved in the actual behind the scenes stuff I am there. The D&D one though, with the here's your deck of encounters. I thought that was just a brilliant idea. There's a random NPC. Yeah. There's a random encounter.
And then they've all got. Each one that I've looked at has kind of got something slightly unique and slightly interesting to it. Not only do they introduce you to the worlds and give you the pre-written adventure, and you get the pre-written character sheets. Like the Warhammer one, the character sheets are stunning.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. They're actual works of art. So, just for jumping on a bandwagon that every company has done and introducing this phenomenal and wonderful hobby to a whole new generation of people at a price point that's phenomenally affordable, I can only commend companies that FFG and all of the others, Wizards and
is it Wizards still?
Cubicle 7 and all of these other companies who are doing them. I can own it. Modifius.
And the
well done, guys. It's superb.
Because I kind of sticking on the. I'm breaking my own rules here, but I'm invigilating. The way that smart things, so D&D, the way Wizards doing it have now rolled some of the Magic the Gathering stuff in. So you've got world book. I think that's really, really clever. Where I was going though is, in addition to those starter boxes, your humble bundles, your bag of holdings and your humble bundle. I mean, considering how little role playing I'm doing, I put a lot into humble bundle. Just going, there's all the Pathfinder books, a game I've never played and probably never will, but I'll have those because I like a good role play book. Yeah, exactly.
We're in the week where they've just released the Infinity bundle on RPG. Now, Infinity is a great war game, a skirmish game. It probably rates up there as one of the best. I've had a few games, really enjoy it. The world is fascinating, and the fact that on a humble bundle for $10, I can suddenly own all of the roleplay books and give me all that background, all that information, and potentially have the potential to run a game in there is wonderful. So the invention of Humble Bundle, I think that's another cracking product.
Right, shall we?
I could do this one for ages.
Yeah, I think we could do a roleplay show.
We're talking about that was still on favourite mini model thing, but we have actually our next category is best game / product.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first here? Because I started off with the last one.
Well, I've just talked a lot. I'm quite dry.
Well, I'll tell you what Gary's was.
Yeah.
No surprise here, given how much Gary was raving about it. We couldn't shut him up earlier. Blackstone Fortress.
He does talk a lot, doesn't
he? So Blackstone Fortress, and I agree with Gary on that one. It was one of those games where it came out, I saw it advertised, I thought, and then we played it, and I was I was reaching for my card at that point, and it's
we're really lucky that we don't have to buy it because Gary has it.
It's only because Gary's got it, and we'll play his copy. And it's not one of these games where you need a copy each, you need a warband each or whatever, you know. You can have a copy amongst a group of friends, or 2 groups of friends, you know, if you wish.
One real and one imaginary.
You can have a copy amongst a group of friends, and you all chip in and play. Yeah. So that was the reason why I held back on buying that. But actually, the miniatures are stunning. So I can see why Gary's picked that as his best
I love that now you can start bringing in, you know, other minis from other Games Workshop products,
and also
and crossing them back out.
They're crossing them over. So was it in the most recent White Dwarf? They put the rules in for using the amble in Kill Team.
Yeah.
So I know Lee and another friend of ours who play a lot of Kill Team. Lee has bought the amble for using in Kill Team.
And I can use the Blackstone figures in Kill Team now as well. You know,
I wouldn't want to put words in his mouth, but I'd be very surprised if Kill Team wasn't right up there for Lee's.
I think Kill Team would be Kill Team would be
Kill Team and Blood Bowl. I think for Lee.
Him and one of our other friends, they've done so much. They've played that so much. They've done so many different little groups.
That's why I'm actually scared to play them now.
I know they'll be really, really good.
Genuinely, I'm like, I don't want to play them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been another great game. I mean, the skirt that, and we've talked about a little bit of roleplay there. And we talk about it in a lot of our episodes when Gary's here, about the era of the smaller game or the skirmish game, which seems to have been sort of, it's kind of I'll use Gary. It's been a golden age for it, or golden era for it. I've probably got that wrong. He'll correct me. But that's why I've loved Kill Team. It's why I've loved a lot of the other games that have come out. Have come out this year. And for those who noticed me take my phone off the table, I wasn't being rude. I'd just forgotten what my actual best game product of the year was because I've liked so many.
Fairness, I've just forgotten.
You go for it.
I think I remember what mine was.
So I'm going to touch just mine's more of a, given how many war games we've talked about and how many war game style we've played. Mine's a more of a board game. It's one we've talked about a lot already. Gotham City Chronicles.
What a game! What a game!
It's the only game this year we've had that I can categorically say, anytime it's been suggested, shall we play this? I've thought, yeah, I want to do that. There's been times when other games I like have been suggested and I've been like, I'm a bit tired of that, or we played a lot of that.
It's the game we've played the most this year. And it's not like we keep a tally of these things. I can categorically say it's the game we've played the most.
It's the game we've got to the point where we've gone, we've played through all the missions for this many players.
Yeah, no, we still haven't.
Have we not?
No, we just keep going back and playing the same ones again because we really enjoyed them.
Okay.
Like that first mission that we did, the Court of Owls one, we've done that 3 times now, but we've rotated characters through to see how it changes. And we come to the same conclusion, it's not as much fun without Nightwing.
It is when you're the baddie. Bloody Nightwing.
He's such a beast.
Yeah, I mean, Gotham, again, so it's one of those things where I love the game, I love the miniatures, but for me not being a Batman nerd, you know, I can appreciate the game a lot. And normally, if it's like not a license that I'm not into, you know, I would probably go, I'll be Batman. Or I recognise the Joker or whatever. But all the other characters were still enough to draw me in just because of the mechanics of the game and the way that game played out. And I mean, we raved about it in the review. We raved about it when we
I don't think it matters that it's Batman.
No,
the game plays so well, and I know that they've just done a Conan version. Using the same rules, etc. And I know someone that's picked it up, and we're going to look at it. But again, I don't think it matters that it's Conan. I think it's just the mechanics. Don't get me wrong. For me, it helps hugely that it's Batman. Because the miniatures in there, some of the miniatures in there are just to die for. The big miniatures especially. And
the cinematics of the rules they've put together really work with Batman. And I mean, I keep coming back to it, and I'm not being paid by the company to advertise. I think it is one of the strongest games rule sets I've played, and the fact that it captures everything, but it's interesting. The fact that you've got you're managing your energy. You've got resource management in there. You're trying to do you want to do cool things with your characters because you know they can do cool things. Some of the shortcuts we put in ourselves, like there's our crib sheets now sorted for our abilities.
So they came about from Monolith.
Yeah.
And if you've got Gotham City Chronicles and you haven't got the crib sheets off the Monolith website, do yourself a favour. Go and get them because they simplify everything.
Get them laminated as well.
Yeah, because then they're wipe clean.
Yeah. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on to our next favourite gamer product, Sven.
So there was too many games to choose from this year in terms of like stuff. So I actually went for something which wasn't a game. So that's why I think I put the caveat of best game / product in that. I've chosen to go with Asset Drop.
Brilliant.
Which is a monthly subscription painters box, and again, we've opened a couple of these asset boxes over this year anyway. But every month you get a tiny little box comes through the post, and you generally get two. It's like 2 sets of paints, or 2 sets of products. So you get 2 little resin tutorial tiles. And then each tutorial tile maps with some of the products. So in the most recent one I've just got, you get there's a whole load of flesh tones, and you got a little like Buddhist monk or a Shaolin monk style model.
Fabulous.
And then I've just blanked on what the other. There was like some grey, various grey paints for you to do some. I think that there's like some wall or some sidewalk.
Okay. Yeah.
But it also came with a Kolinsky sable brush from MIG and
I really like the MIG brushes.
And another brush, like a flat brush from AK. And I've had other things, like there's been all sorts of products in there that I probably wouldn't have picked up myself.
Yeah.
But there's things in there that I've kind of said, I've used, and I've said, that's actually a product now that I will use further.
Yeah.
So, although I'd already tried the AK interactive pencils when you got some, they came in one of the boxes. And you get you make saving about £7 to £10 on a box.
Yeah.
But it's more about the fact that you get a chance to try new products.
Yeah. So I used to do Asset Drop, and I will be doing again in the new year. But the one that really stuck out for me and the highlight for me was the Turbo Dork paints. A company I'd never heard of, a company I'd never seen, but they're the polychromatic shifts.
Yeah.
And they are. Some of the effects are stunning.
Those ones you do with Dark Elves in.
Yeah, your Dark Elf Blood Bowl team looks the nuts. It really does. Without being too egotistical about it, they look stunning. And that that's a product range. I'm like, yeah, really. And I know AK do chromatic shifts and all this kind of stuff, but I used the Turbo Door once. I liked them. I'm going to use them again. And I wouldn't have got that if it hadn't been for Asset Drop.
Yeah, there's been a few different paint brands now where I've found some stuff through Asset Drop that when I run out of those paints, I will be buying them again, or I may even go and look at their range again. So there was even some like artist acrylic paints that came in. One of them, these Joe Sonja ones that
I've had
vivid greens and
I've had some oil paints come through with mine, and it's where the nipple paints came from.
Yeah.
So you'll notice I hadn't had much to say on this bit of the.
Do you like the effect that you've got from the stuff you've had painted with?
Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, that's all right.
I didn't know it myself. Just looking, it's when my body language became very close. I was like, I don't know anything about painting. This doesn't really do it for me. But no, I've seen. All joking aside, I can appreciate what you've been. And the actual quality of what you got with that Asset Drop, because that's the one where you get the little booklet of here's some ideas to try out.
Well, you get the tutorial booklet, and generally. You get like some Haribo or
sweets as well.
I can't just buy them for that. I could just get a Haribo, but
it's probably a bit cheaper just to buy some Haribo.
Did you? I'm trying to think if it was you or were you talking about? Did you get like a water effect set, which was
I got a little terrain set of resins for doing a water pool.
It was like pigments as well, wasn't it?
I've had some pigment powders. I've had loads of weathering powders and stuff with them. Various ones. I've had a set of monochrome Humboldt paints, so various shades of grey. Some really nice again, stages of paint. So, like a really dark blue through to a really light blue. So you can do, full glaze workups and things like that with them. And non-metallic metal, the first non-metallic metal stuff that we did, I think came from Acid Drop. And all of these things that now I've got and I've used and I've done, and I'm like, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Especially like NM and like non-metallic metals.
And you get the tutorial book that shows you how to use those products. So like there's like even some of the little, like we had like sniper brushes and things they gave you, which if I saw those on a shelf in a shop, I probably wouldn't have bought them because I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And now you get the tutorial that shows how to use them. Yeah. I'll use them.
Yeah.
So that was my Acid Drop, and I say, that's the thing that I now look forward to getting me a little email that says your Acid Drop has been shipped.
And really nice guys as well. I've had several conversations with them about kind of the future of the company. And so hopefully they'll watch this and appreciate how much we love them.
And are they still doing three different boxes? 2 different boxes?
They've got another one that they're doing soon, which is a terrain starter box.
Yeah, so the one we've been getting is a Discovery box. And then they do like the Monster box, and is it a Hero
Heroines.
Heroine box?
Do they do Hero and Heroines?
No.
Or is it just Heroines?
Just Heroine.
Yeah.
It's Monster, Discovery and Heroine, isn't it?
Yeah.
And again, each one of those you get a different range of things, and like...
And then they introduce you some really interesting miniature companies as well.
And so, some of the miniatures they send out with their box, because it's something I'm never going to get into because that side of the hobby doesn't do it for me.
But you can appreciate
you look at the boxes, the minis that they're giving with them are just some really, really nice stuff.
Yeah.
So, Ben, your best game or product?
So again, this as Sven and Ian have said, it's been an absolute bumper year for amazing things that have come out in the hobby. Gotham, we could wax lyrical about Gotham forever. Blackstone Fortress, Kill Team, the reissue of Blood Bowl, the reissue of Titanicus, some of the role-playing stuff, things like Star Trek Adventures, Cubicle 7's redo of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, 5th edition D&D. All of these things are just beautiful and so much fun and so interesting. But I had to pick one, and I have gone for Star Wars Legion. It is a game so close to my heart. In 1977, I remember my mum taking me into Coventry, dropping me at Theatre 1 cinema, for those of you who are from Coventry and remember that far. It was also known as the Flea Pit. Dropping me at Theatre 1 on a Saturday morning to watch Star Wars for the first time on my own. I was quite young. While she went off and did the shopping, and coming back and doing that every Saturday for a year, pretty much. So, I love Star Wars, happily say. And Star Wars Legion is a great game.
So it's because I'm the same as you, albeit slightly younger. So I came to it a bit later, just slightly. And I adore Star Wars. It's a movie more than any other I've been to. I wouldn't think about how many times I've seen it in the cinema. Never mind in other forms of media. Very close to my heart, and I love what they've done. We're not going to talk too much about it, but I love what they've done with the new movies. I like some of the things they did with the prequels. I think there are really great elements in those, as much as they get a lot of bad press. And I think, I talked about the Gronk being one of the most character models, one of the most meaningful models that in terms of that bit of comics. Yeah. When you mentioned the speeder bikes that Gary picked, those were some of those. I looked at those models and went, I can see you like slicing through the Forest of Endor. Yeah. Some of the other miniatures, I think, are just spectacular.
Stormtroopers.
But, and this is a strange but, from everything I've just said there, it's a game that never, and I've still to this day not been captured with that. I have to get a piece of that and I have to get involved. I've loved playing it.
Yeah, but again, I think that comes down to a lot that you don't need to.
Yeah.
I think we're in a very fortunate position as a group that, even taking away Gary's imaginary friends, between us, we've got more than enough Star Wars Legion stuff to play big games.
Yeah.
We've got several thousand points worth on each side.
Yeah.
And you obviously don't need that many, but we've got that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's one of those things, I'm going to collect all of it because I am.
Yeah.
And you don't have to.
And I'm
okay with that.
And I don't have to, and I had no plans to actually collect any of it until You went and brought out your skirmish rules, didn't you? I didn't even need to buy an army. It was like, here's a small select. You could just build an elite force. Much like my commandos for
your bolt action skirmish force.
My bolt action skirmish force.
Yeah. What's that now? 3,000 points?
3,000 points and 3,000 points of Germans. So that small skirmish force.
For Legion, it was one where it came out and I thought it looked pretty, but I'm not going to get into it. And then I managed to convince myself that I wasn't going to get into it. And when we played the first game at yours, well, it's you and Gary playing, and we were first reckoning the rules and things, just seeing the minis was a hard pull for me not to think, well, if I just buy some of these and some of these and some of these, and I've every time, because I'm in some of the Star Wars Legion groups and things like that, I get invited into groups on Facebook and I see the paint and stuff and I see the mods, I see the stuff people are doing, and every time there's this urge in me to go, let's go and just buy some stuff.
It's good that our addiction isn't bad for your health. I mean, it's not good for your wallet, but it's not bad for your health.
Yeah, so I remember when Legion came out, one of the things that I know that we discussed and we were kind of worried about at the time was, this is Fantasy Flight Games. You know, they do their board games, they do their card games, they do, you know, they've done the role playing games and they've done really, really well with them. But what kind of rule set are they going to write? You know, how's it going to play?
Yeah.
And what they've managed to do is provide a rule set that works well and is cinematic.
Yeah, I don't want to oversimplify, and apologies if I do. For me, and it's you know, I've obviously waxed constantly about the Gotham rule set. Yeah. But what Fantasy Flight seem to have been able to do is take very, very good board game or small game concepts and mechanics and blow them up to here's a full scale war game.
Yeah.
So you feel that you've got that simplicity of, I've got a card telling me what to do, and I've got very specific parameters.
That learning thing from X-Wing and Armada of cards.
It's almost the same kind of, like, as you say, experience you've got with X-Wing.
Yeah.
Where you've got the dice rolling is very much, here are some symbols. So you're not consulting charts of,
you're not looking at the numbers.
You're just basically rolling what hits and what crits have I got.
Yeah.
You've got your card that gives you
how many you're rolling,
your basic rules and what you know, how much you're rolling and what your special rules are for each unit. And I think that was nice because again it kind of meant you get into the game quite easily.
Yeah, you know, there's not a huge amount of rules that you have to learn because it's all pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So Legion, something that I know probably over the next year we're going to look more in depth at, especially with the release of the Clone Wars stuff, because there are some miniatures in that I'm just screaming to get my hands on.
Yeah,
the limited edition Obi-Wan for Messam this year, which was just a beautiful thing. But it's Ahsoka. I'm desperate for an Ahsoka Tano.
So for me, the one that might tip me is if you get a full Ghost crew.
Oh, don't do this to me.
A full Ghost crew with old Ahsoka.
Yeah, don't do that to me. That would tip me over the edge as well.
Okay, moving on because my invigilating's terrible. We're just chatting here. Okay, so moving on to favourite company.
Best company.
Best company.
Bestest company.
Who has been your bestest, most favouriteest company of this year? Do you want to go? Shall I go? Who's going to go first with this one?
Well, I'll do Gary's because that's the one that we can get it. So Gary has been raving about these, I think, since Salute. This year it was a company called ABC Brushes.
Yes.
In the works for next year, if we can sort it out, Gary is going to be doing some painting type stuff for the channel. But before then, what we'll do is we'll get
minis for his imaginary friends.
We'll get Gary to come on with his ABC brushes and tell us all why he thinks they're amazing. So that was Gary's pick. ABC brushes.
Do you?
So my favourite company this year is Crooked Dice.
Yeah.
So Crooked Dice again. I think we've we've raved over them quite a bit so far.
I mean, we haven't.
I've raved over them quite a bit so far.
You've raved over them more than I've raved over Gotham's rules.
So, Crooked Dice are one of these companies where we'd seen them at some game shows over the past few years, and then last year, at the back end of the year,
He's just ruining your wallet, isn't he?
Yeah, I basically splurged and bought the Inch High Spy-Fi rule set and a couple of casts, and we all just started falling in love with the minis. And
minis
then
are great, aren't they? They're just such beautiful minis.
So at the back end of last year, there was the Kickstarter for the Apocalypse, which came in, I think that came through at the start of this year.
Yeah.
And again, I went in on the Kickstarter, I got a few of the casts, and I've painted up a few, although we still get to play it. And then this year they had
we don't need to play something to love it.
Well, yeah.
We played... I did what I always do. We played a game with Lee and yourself, and I'm not sure there was...
I wasn't there.
No, I don't think you were there. I'm sure...
I've still not played it, actually.
We've played a couple of games, because we had Lee using... it was Inch High Spy-Fi.
It was an Inch High Spy-Fi. He had some miniature... Had he gotten his own self some miniatures?
He was using some of the Doctor Who models from the Warlords Exterminate
That's right.
game. So he had... was it Dr. Kronos? And his faithful assistant, and then he had some... He bought some of the Warlord Commandos and painted them up a bit like... Department X or Unit or whoever.
And I found a really bearly combo and locked down one of his characters for the entire game.
And then
in that way that I do.
Because you're a massive.
We had kind of the James Bond style agent, and we had some henchmen, and so we played a couple of games of the basic Inch High Spy-Fi, but we haven't played Apocalypse yet. But I have got a couple of casts painted up. And that is something that we're going to be doing soon.
Yeah, I can't think... It's not one of these games that we've consciously avoided playing, it's just there's always seemed to be something... Because the couple of games we played, some really nice things in there, some really nice little touches.
I don't think we've ever actually just sat around and just gone, oh, do you know what we should do this week?
Yeah.
It's because of Gotham. That's what it is.
It's Gotham.
But the thing about Crooked Dice is I think the reason why I picked them out isn't just because I love 7TV, the game, although that is obviously the bulk of it, but I think... So
Carl, isn't it?
It's Carl. I mean, Carl's... I think the level of customer service he gives is amazing.
Yeah, he's such a top bloke.
So the community that he's built up in the 7TV Facebook group, you know, the community there, the fact that you've got people putting out ideas for new casts, and there's a lot of encouragement of different companies producing miniatures and things like that. And I say just some of the ideas that he's having and some of the things that he's working with Edge Hill University and developing the games.
Yeah.
And so they've just done the Pulp 2, the Pulp Sci-Fi Kickstarter. So earlier in the year they did the kind of Pulp Noir Kickstarter, and I bought some of the minis, and I've just bought the game. I've just bought the box of Pulp 2 weekends ago at Battleground. So I've just bought Pulp the box. So again, I'm going to be painting up some of the Pulp Noir stuff.
Yeah.
To go in, because again, I just love those models. Even if we never played it, I love the models.
And it was actually a model. I think it might be sitting buried in your paint table, or it's sitting buried somewhere. Oh, just me. It almost made my best mini of the year was the Bastardly and Woofly.
Yeah. The Road Agents.
The Road Agents. Oh, they're just incredible. And it was actually seeing them painted. I think we went to see Carl at this wasn't this year.
Border Reaver last year when he had them in the cabinet.
The paint, they were just incredible. Whoever did the paint job as well, they were brilliant. But they just looked great. And the Anthill Mob and Penelope Pitts, just really lovely.
Yeah, I mean, so like I've got because Apocalypse brought in the vehicle rules as well in 7TV, so I've got the Interceptor. Excuse me, they've got the Interceptor kit that they did, and I've just picked up one of the Apocalypse Mini Coopers.
Yeah,
and the
Land Rover's really nice as well. That your brother picked up.
I think just the range of minis, especially like for, you know, where if you're into cult TV, if you're into your 80s TV or 70s TV, anything like that, it kind of, everything you see, you've got something there that just sparks something. It's like the Star Wars stuff, but because it's a bit more esoteric, it's kind of like, you know, you can see something in there that reminds you of a show, one of several shows.
But it's also got that really really kind of dangerous element to it. In that I've heard you use the excuse of, I really like the look of this game, and if the game's no good, then the miniatures I'll just use for 7 TVs. So it's like you're just going. It doesn't even matter if the game's good. It's like I like those miniatures, so I'll buy the game because if the worst comes to the worst.
I mean, that'd be something to use your Hellboy stuff on.
Yeah, we played that once. There's so many miniatures of Hellboy.
But yeah, so that's why I think Crooked Dice for me have been. I think.
What?
You know.
They've been the company this year that have that I think I've been most engaged with and I've been most impressed with, and I think everything that Carl's been doing in terms of promoting and supporting the game has been phenomenal. So that's why. And
Carl, I say again, Carl is such a top bloke.
Yeah.
He's a a really nice guy in the community. That's as you say, is really helpful. I don't really have much in 7TV is not something that's really bitten me yet, but I'll happily sit and talk to Carl for 20 minutes about it. Top bloke, Carl.
And you can tell he's genuinely enthusiastic and he's genuinely invested in what he's doing. So I think that really comes across.
And he recognises us, which is even better.
He probably recognises you too.
We are the talent.
You are the talent. Anyway, Ben.
Me. Yeah. Okay. So very quickly, just so I'm going to go rewind ever so slightly back to best products.
Yes.
Contrast paints.
Oh yes.
What an absolutely genius. Well done. Superb. I'd swear, but I'm not allowed to. Just contrast paints. Wonderful.
Who did contrast paints?
Games Workshop or Citadel, depending on how you look at it now. So company of the year. I couldn't choose between two here. I've tried my absolute hardest to pick one over the other, and I can't. And so I'm going to do both actually because I have that right. I'm an adult. I'm going to go with Fantasy Flight Games, and I'm going to go with Modifius.
Yeah.
Fantasy Flight Games. Yeah, I know they're having some distribution problems recently. But if you look at their release schedule of how much they're trying to put out on a weekly basis of new things, to keep to that level, it's more than Games Workshop are doing, and it's for a much wider range of things than Games Workshop are doing.
And they got a bit of difficult. Was it this year they got a bit of difficult press, or was it last year when they did X-Wing 2?
End of last year, beginning of this year.
There was a load of complaints, but actually, when you really get down to it, and I don't want to oversimplify their product, X-Wing and that kind of products, it's in the Magic MTG, it's in that kind of evolving game, as in the rules evolved, they saw how it was, and they changed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they brought out, people can look at it as a cash grab, they can look at it as whatever they want to, and maybe it is, if you're cynically looking at it like that, maybe it is. But for me, it was we've done enough tournamenting in this, we seen what this does, we know what we're doing, this is how it needs to evolve. And it might evolve again.
It probably will do because the nature of tournament and games is that as rules, holes or exploits come about,
and people like me try and break them, basically.
they have to put out an FAQ to basically paper over the cracks that otherwise you suddenly get a tournament where everyone turns up with the whatever build, there's
and that's happening a lot in the tournament meta, and that's why they made the change to Wave 2 or version 2. But it's so much of what they're doing. They brought out Keyforge, which is a game that we loved when it first came out.
Yeah.
Legion, superb game. The Arkham Horror stuff, which is a really, really good board game.
We've only played it once or twice, but Armada, I think that's a cracking game.
That's a great game as well. Legion, Wax Lyrical about Legion quite a lot already. The amount of product that they're putting out, and the fact that they've now got some new guys on their social media team who are really engaging through a lot of the fan sites and through the Facebook pages and things like this. So they are keeping you up to date on what the problems are.
Yeah.
One of their distribution guys is on one of the Star Wars Legion, official Star Wars Legion page, every week going, right, this is what we're doing this week. We're not doing this because we've had this problem. We're not doing that because we've had that problem. But this is coming out instead, and that level of engagement is wonderful.
Brilliant,
especially from a company that big. They're the world leaders in tournaments by a long way.
Yeah.
Everyone is looking at their tournament model. Games Workshop are wholesale stealing their tournament model.
Yeah.
To try and keep up. That's why we've got Kill Team now. That's why we've got.
Warcry.
Warcry. That's why we've got Warcry. All of these games are coming about because Fantasy Flight have taken that ball by the horns and really gone with it.
Fantasy Flight have taken what, and they've had to do, and I'm not sort of taking away from your point, but they've had to do a lot more with it, but they've taken from the Magic the Gathering tournament model.
Absolutely.
And then they've had to adapt that. And I think the thing I find really interesting about them, and I think it is one of their strengths, is because they do so many different things. They do card games, they do board games, they do role-playing games, they do miniature-based skirmish games,
war games. Yeah.
And you can really see that they don't segregate those teams.
Yeah.
So you can go, okay, here's some really good stuff from the card games. Let's bring that into what we're doing with these games. Let's look at how the board game rules are working, and they just really
but
bring it all
it's not just that. I mean, so
said by a true project manager.
I mean, all of
and rules lawyer.
Like, I think all the big games we've set up from FFG have all been like the big IPs, like the Star Wars, or the big style games like Keyforge and things. But actually, one of the casual games that we've played a few times now that we really enjoy from FFG is Hey, That's My Fish.
Yeah.
Which is a hilarious little penguin game.
Yeah.
That we took on holiday with us and we played that, and it was like, it's because it's the kind of casual game that you can put on the table with someone who isn't a hardcore card gamer, tabletop gamer, skirmish gamer, full blown war gamer. You can put them on the table, and within 5 minutes, everyone knows how to play Hey, That's My Fish.
I think that's kind of the main point about FFG that's really impressed me, is the fact that they are a gaming company for everybody, from the most casual gamer all the way through to absolute hardcore rules nerd.
Yeah.
Which is something I don't think, as much as GW are trying to get out of their swim lane, by all the IP stuff they're doing with like Munchkin or
Funko Pops.
Yeah, the Funko Pop stuff, and there's a Warhammer 40,000 Monopoly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're trying to cross that, but what they're not doing is they're not building games themselves for
casual gamers, and
like other people.
Yeah.
So I know quite a few people they will not play a Games Workshop game because they don't do war games. But it's Fantasy Flight Games. It's hard to pick something out of their range that you couldn't find someone.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't like it, whether the hardcore war gamer, where you could point them at Legion and say, go and have your 50,000 point game. Go
and recreate the Battle of Hoth.
Yeah, your 1-to-1 scale Endor.
Yeah.
Or here is a game that fits in your pocket that you can take to a caravan and play in a wet weekend in Scarborough, with people who've never played people who've played Cleveland Monopoly.
And it's a rare skill to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So Fantasy Flight Games is my number
that's
one.
Your first one. And you're only allowed one. I'm invigilating. No. Like I could do anything if you wanted to keep talking.
Modiphius. I love Modiphius. I think what they have done over the last 12 months especially, for not only the role-play hobby, but also the hobby as a general thing, to have a UK-based company that has really, bought into a lot of these really interesting IPs and working with lots of European publishers and American publishers to bring these games from around the world and translate them into English and put them out there in a really accessible way. So everything's on PDF or hard copy. They regularly have sales.
Mutant Chronicles, isn't it?
Yeah. So Modiphius is Mutant Chronicles. It's I got Coriolis through them. I got Star Trek Adventures through them. They do the Conan role-playing game. They do Tales from the Loop. They do the Infinity role-playing game. They've got so much out there. There's loads of. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. But they also did the Thunderbirds board game.
That was a cracking board. That was a really good.
Which is such a great little game. So I chat with Manny, who's their PR guy, occasionally, and we've had a few conversations going back and forth and stuff. But irrespective of that, the quality, the interest of the products that they're putting out there it's really reignited the hobby. If you got into D&D as your first role playing game and you were looking for somewhere to move outside of the D&D genre, Modiphius is the people I'm going to recommend every day of the week.
So do they have a general English here, do they have a system that they then just They take their system and adapt it to a different setting.
Yeah, so the base system is the one that they developed is the 2D20 system, which is the one we use for Star Trek.
Yeah.
Which great little as a dice mechanic, really enjoy it. But then things like Coriolis, which is a Swedish game, Tales from the Loop, I think Swedish as well.
Right.
Got New Elder Scrolls.
New Elder Scrolls miniatures game.
As if by magic.
Oh, that's a nice miniature.
It's almost like Kung Fu Panda, the board game.
Fallout. So they're getting some quite big.
They've got some good IPs. They're producing the new
Star Trek event. Sorry, we're just going to get lost in Sven's tablet now.
The new 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade is theirs.
Really?
That's
a lot of things they've got down there.
They've got so much going on for them. Really good guys.
Nice.
Recommend them highly.
So, in closing on this one,
I am going to go massively establishment, and I'm sorry to finish this section.
Don't apologise because they deserve to be there.
Yeah, it's Games Workshop for me.
Yeah.
I think what Games Workshop have done this year have just been not that bad. So we've lost Ben. What they've done this year has just been brilliant. And
in terms of reimagining themselves?
In terms of, I guess, they've always been a big game company who launch small games for a short period and then take them off the shelves because they're impacting their big game sales.
Yeah.
This year, and I think possibly last, I can't think when it all started, the things like Underworld coming out.
Well, it's been the last 3 years if you think about it in terms of how much they've been putting out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of started with a re-release of Blood Bowl.
A Blood Bowl, Kill Team. It's the small scale skirmish level
one box games.
Yeah.
Like that's where they've absolutely nailed it on the head.
We've spoken about Adeptus Titanicus. We've spoken about Kill Team, Blood Bowl. We've got Underworld. We've got Warcry,
Blackstone Fortress, Silver Tower.
There's the stuff we haven't talked about. We never got into. We missed out on Aeronautica, Imperialis, which I really wanted to buy.
And it's still available.
And it's across every single one of those games. I can't think of a miniature I've looked at and gone, that's a bad miniature. There are miniatures I've not liked, but I've not looked at them and gone, that is a bad miniature. It's either badly proportioned or it's badly scaled or it's badly made. The miniatures have been stunning.
So what really made it for me with Games Workshop and why they deserve rightly to be kind of up there in this list this year is how much they've listened to their community. Their fan community. There's the fan community that carried on playing Blood Bowl when Games Workshop gave up on it, and it's the fan community that persuaded Games Workshop to reissue Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
Titanicus came out because of the fans. Necromunda came out again because of the fans. The Sisters of Battle, which almost hit my product of the year, again was because of the community.
The marketing and teasing on that was it was phenomenal. It was.
They've got.
And if you talk about marketing and teasing, so GW obviously recently, put that teaser out of something that might be coming out in 2-3 years' time. They're saying, with the potentially reimagining, reintroduction of Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
Returning to the old world?
The old world as it used to be. So and again, we've got nothing more than a couple of teasers and a little statement. In the studio we're doing this stuff. But it's that one little nugget of news that came out was enough to have every gaming forum.
The internet meltdown.
It was putting it up with the classic old world map. It was just that. It was just instantaneous. I've role played in that. I've seen that in in White Dwarf for years and years. Miniatures games. I think
some of the miniatures that they've released this year are just to die for.
You still look at the price point and you go, some of the stuff's really, really good. Some of it you're like, really? That's one mini. It's one really lovely, beautiful mini.
Yeah,
it's one mini.
I'm quite annoyed about the Mephiston price point.
Moving on to our final topic.
Oh yeah, I better remind myself what I said about this.
It's what I don't remember what we call it. It's essentially looking ahead.
What are we focusing on?
What's going on for next year?
So what are we going to focus on next year? What are we looking forward to? What's our plans?
Yes. Who would like to kick us off with that? Go on.
Let's see what Imaginary Gary says.
Well, Gary's is one I think that everyone will probably say, which is just play more games.
Damn it, he's stole my thunder.
Sorry, his is essentially play more games from the pile. One of the things Gary got earlier in the year was he kickstarted this beautiful U-boat game.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I completely forgot about that.
Which we've not done it. Having a companion iPad app and all this kind of stuff. And I think he brought it around one night. We looked at it, and we probably had 5 other new games that we looked at that night and didn't ever play it. And he's got like there's the Dune game, and there's Fury of Dracula, and there's Zombicide.
So I see Fury of Dracula played on, I think it was. Yeah, no, sorry, I stole from my words. Fury of Dracula. Did that on purpose.
You know Dracula?
Listen, it's an
It's
an accent thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I saw that played on Tabletop. And it looks like a really, really good game. I'm really, really keen to play that one myself.
So I think that one takes off the play more games, unless someone's got a play more games with a specific, lilt to it.
So while we go through yours, I'm going to try and remind myself what I actually said.
I'm going to try and think of something new to say.
So, again, this was difficult because I've always got 5 or 6 different irons in the fire in terms of gaming. But one of the things that I have to do in 2020 is get around to actually doing the Amera Plastics trench set that you bought me nearly 2 years ago for my birthday.
For your birthday? Yes. For that special birthday?
Yeah. So...
very special, wasn't it?
Ben was kind of... You bought me like 9 foot of vacuum moulded trench. Which is a lovely gift.
It was £1 a year.
It's taller than me.
It was £1 a year. That's how we justified it.
However, I've had so much plan because I want to do it justice because it's such a nice piece of kit.
Yeah.
So, it's basically a vacuum formed trench system that Amera Plastics or Amera Mouldings.
Amera Mouldings, yeah.
Amera Mouldings do.
Nice local company.
Really local company, really nice, really good price, and it's an amazing piece of kit. And I need to get, I need to get the time and the space to be able to actually lay it all out, work out what I'm doing with it, how I'm going to build it, how I'm going to paint it. I want to do some fancy things with magnetising it so it clips together properly.
Yeah.
So that might be my start of the year big project.
I think that's a really good one. And we'll put a link to Amera so you can have a look at their own stuff down there as well.
And then the other thing which I've got, which again have been sitting, built, ready to be primed in a case for about a year now, is about 2,500 points of German Grenadiers for bolt action.
Oh, I forgot you had that.
Which again, because of all the other projects, all the little small things we've been playing, like Underworlds, like Blood Bowl, 7TV, all these things that kind of keep pushing them back because they're the big, if I start painting those Germans, that's me painting Germans for 3 months.
Yeah.
Whereas I can go, I'll paint an Underworld's warband tonight.
Yeah.
So they're the 2 big projects. I think the trench is going to be January, in the same way that I did Pegasus Bridge last year. I think the trench is going to be January's big project.
I look forward to following that on social media.
And I might even do some little bits of how I go about working with the plastic stuff, how I go about building it, painting it, magnetising it, etc.
Strengthening it and things like that, yeah.
So that's going to be my goals, because I don't want to look much further than the first couple of months, because let's face it, there'll be a new game that comes out and it'll get the fish hooks in and then we'll be dragged off to something else.
It'll go to rubbish, won't it? So shall I go next?
Yeah.
So other than playing more games, which
I noticed that was you.
I think we've got. To be honest, I think we've got a fairly nice level of game playing at the moment. It's all right, I do quite well. My 2 big things, or probably 3 big things actually. Firstly, I want to do more big games because we haven't done one for ages. To be honest, a whole Saturday when there's enough people who aren't doing other things. We can start at 10 rather than 1 and things like this. Play through to 10 o'clock at night and actually play 7 turns of a game. Yeah, something like that.
We're never going to get to 7 turns. 4. Let's go for 4.
If we start at 2 o'clock every week,
True.
Get 4 turns. So that's what I want to do. That I want to play a big game of Bolt Action. I want to play a big game of Legion. I want to play other big games. I want to play like a big game of 7TV, etc. I want to do that. I want to get into I want to find some new and interesting role playing stuff. For from the various companies that are out there that are producing things. I've really started to get into a rule system called Powered by the Apocalypse, which comes originally from the Apocalypse World game system. It's very simple. It's really, really enjoyable. The rules are great, but the diversification of worlds and genres is astronomical. You can literally adapt it to play anything. So that's number 2, and number 3 is my other love, which is live roleplay, and supporting and working with the guys on the Teutonian command team, which is the group that I'm part of, and now help run. Hi Richie, hi Jamie, hope you're watching, or will watch, maybe you won't, who cares, I don't know. But
Richie and Jamie, keep watching.
Yeah, keep watching. But yeah, doing more live roleplay as well. And kind of experiencing more of the live roleplay world that's around in the country at the moment, and maybe even taking my camera and doing a few bits and bobs and kind of expanding what we on the channel do. Also, I really want to hit 500s. I want to hit the big 500s for the channel by the end of the year.
Yeah, so tell all your friends. If every one of you tells a friend, and I get my 299 spam accounts that I've created and double them.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
Done. That's me.
Okay, right, Ian. Now you've got the big one. So this is
what people are going to remember. This is the finale.
I should have planned this better. We'll come up with another category because mine's a little bit.
Yours is really selfish.
Mine's far more unstated than that. Is that I've got quite a lot going on sort of early part of next year. So just making sure I can keep a bit of gaming in amongst all the other real life stuff that's going on. The selfish stuff, so I'll get on to the selfish stuff. I'm going to try not to buy any more miniatures or stuff so that you can get your painting table cleared of all the other stuff that I'm giving you. All jokes aside, what I really want to get done is the Blood Bowl tournament that we've been talking about for a while.
Absolutely.
And actually, we've talked a lot this year about actually filming games.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple of bits and pieces done as we've found our feet and how we're actually going to do it. And we've talked a lot about what's worked in the stuff we filmed and what hasn't.
And we've got some really nice ideas about how to film and things like that. Yeah.
Well, I think the Blood Bowl game we did, where it was mainly focused on what was going on the pitch, worked, and we could have done it better. But I'd really like to do a bit more of that. But Blood, for me, and I've harped on about it in plenty of our videos, Blood Bowl's my favourite game. I really like the idea of getting a team going again and building it through a league. So that's the big one for me. And roleplay and all just doing as much of it as I can possibly fit.
Yeah, I think so. To loop back round to Gary's thing, I think we all want to play more games, and we want to play more games consistently, because that's the one thing we've all said, with the exception of Gotham, which I think was near the start and middle of the year, which we played very consistently. So we played that quite a few times week in, week out, and it's only been the last few weeks where we've actually played the same game
up and played it a couple of times.
And again, that was even just picking up a game from the shelf. So we played loads of Waterdeep the past few weeks just to.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
We played it one week just as a let's just play something.
Yeah, let's just take our minds off and do something different.
And then we liked it so much the following week we're like, let's play loads of Waterdeep again.
Yeah.
And
I think it's remembering that we can play the same game more than once.
Yeah.
I think it's because we've got so many. We've done that.
We never talk about what games we're getting.
We've done that thing where we've all just run out and bought every game there is, and we're all trying to shoehorn the game that
my game played.
Bought. Yeah, and so we get situations, and again it's trying to find games, because we play often sometimes there's 5 of us here, there's sometimes 3, there's sometimes 4. It's trying to find games that fit that well. There's a night that we played Blood Bowl, we had 2 Blood Bowl pitches side by side, and we just played
that was really good. That really worked. That was really, really
we've
good.
had games here where we've had 2 games of Underworlds and a game of Keyforge going on. So it's kind of like getting that, remembering that we've got games on the shelf that we bought a year ago that we can still actually play, and it's just making sure that we are having fun and playing games, because that's essentially what we spend all of our time talking and thinking about. And
and to be honest, it's what sparked all this off in the first place.
Yeah.
Was us talking and playing games.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of turned into this social media juggernaut. It's been really nice just to remember why we do this. And some of the best bits of doing this.
So maybe that's one for 2020. Let's get together and discuss more, like whether we do it on camera or we do a podcast or whatever else we do. Let's just get together and have a bit more of a chat about this hobby that we do.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, I can certainly do that. I don't have much else going on at the minute.
I agree. So I mean, the main thing is, obviously, this is our wrap up, and these are our opinions, and this is basically, you know, what we think. But the main thing is what you think. So if there's stuff you want to say in the channel, you have to let us know. So you can comment below. You can go to our Twitter or Instagram, our Facebook accounts,
which we will put somewhere down here,
across the bottom. But so what we'll do is we'll post our pics under this video in the Facebook Average Tabletop Gamer support group. You can wade in. I know there's a lot of discussion in there about, you know, what games are good for families, what games are good for like more than 5 players.
And that's great to see, actually, is the amount of kind of community feedback that we're starting to get, and the fact that we are somewhere people are coming to ask those opinions.
And I mean, one of my actual goals for next year in terms of the channel and the way the Average Tabletop Gamers go is that we get a bit more consistent with our content. So that's something which, you know, we're going to try and work on.
Try and make it good every time.
Well, we've been a little bit hit and miss about when we put videos out. Sometimes we do like 5 in a week, and then other times we go for a month. And that's just, you know, the way that we schedule and plan things. But hopefully, in the new year, we're going to be able to get some scheduling going. We're going to be able to get some planning going. We're going to be able to be a bit more consistent with our output. And again, from you, we need your input. So we need to know, do you want to see us play games? Do you want to see more of this? Do you want to see less of this? Do you want to see less of that?
That's a yes.
Do you want to see...
the talent.
Do you want tutorials? Do you want us to do some more like hints and tips like we've done with green stuff and painting and modelling and things like that? Do you want to see...
Do you want to hear me talking through rule books?
Do you want to see him paint a miniature on
camera? God, no.
I do! I really do!
You've seen that miniature that I painted.
Yeah, but I haven't seen... I don't know that was you.
It was really good, and it only took me 2.5 days to paint one single miniature.
So we need to know what you want to see, so you can let us know. So hit us in the comments. Let us know on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can send us a letter.
Pigeons.
Pigeon or
Christmas cards.
Yeah. Let us know what you want, and we will try and deliver, and we'll try and make this channel around the community that we're growing here, which is great.
So, thanks for sticking with us if you've got this far. Thanks for supporting us over the last 2 years. If you are inspired to take up any of our suggestions, you agree, disagree, or whatever, let us know. Thanks to all of those companies that we've mentioned for providing us with these, with the products that have enabled us to have this conversation.
Yeah.
So, you know, thanks to FFG, to Modifius, to Games Workshop, to 7TV, to Crooked Dice, thanks to Cubicle 7, thanks to you all. But thanks also, to all of you.
Thanks to some of the other companies that have basically supported by set like
TT Combat,
putting faith in a small channel like we are, and actually giving us things to review. So Micro Art Studio have been great. We've done
really
some reviews
good,
of their stuff. Tier Terrain is a company that I'm telling everyone at the moment. GameMat.eu, Urban Mat. So all these companies that have reached out and given us products to show you, products to review, things that we can put in our games to actually show you, the gamer, what it's like.
And I think as much as we've not mentioned them until you've just spoken there, actually some of the games we've raved about during this discussion, when you think back to them, it's like, oh yeah, that we used that gaming mat during one of the Legion games. We had
the big bunker.
That
was superb. Yeah.
So thank you to you guys as well for as Sven said, for giving us a bit of support. As Sven said, you can find us on all our social media channels. We're all doing the pointy down thing now. We're going to try and, as he said, we'll link whatever videos we can. Have a look through the channel. There's some really good stuff on there, even if I say so myself. Some of it doesn't even include me. I know, it's shocking. But that's been the Average Tabletop Gamers for 2019. Thanks very much.
And we'll see you in the new year. So, ta-ra for now.
Ta-ra for now.